We represent contemporary art platform NOAR. I'm Kelly. This is Andra. Andra is a heart and soul of the platform. I'm more like a frame. So I know more about numbers maybe. To understand how we collect and save the data, we have to go over a bit our organization's activities. Today we are the largest contemporary art platform in Baltic and Nordic region with a growing database, currently over 5,000 works from 600 artists. And artists from this region, including Estonian, Latvian, Lithuanian, Finland, Norway and Sweden. So the focus of the platform is to bring art closer to ordinary people. People who are still afraid to step inside a physical gallery, maybe feel a little bit uncomfortable. And the other thing is we support artists, of course, by selling their artworks. But only online. But this is not all we do. For example, last year we celebrated our exhibition calendar with an opening. There is all exhibitions that are happening at the moment in the region, the most important ones, and also the past ones and upcoming ones. We provide stories about art and artists. We conduct exhibitions and contests ourselves, contests like Nordic and Baltic Young Artist Award. Also, the database will be made after these artworks are participating there, and they will be collected and saved. And also events like Tallinn Art Week, and projects, of course. And this was one example of this video, and Andra will tell more about it, of course. By doing all that, almost 6 years, we accidentally have archived this data that is uploaded there. And it has been very useful for several target groups. And it is free for everybody. Target groups we're talking about are curators, students, teachers, interior designers, and so on. If you see this slide, you can see how this layout will turn out if you start searching in our platform. You can search by artist, search by country, search by the art piece size, and also read more about the artist. And also you can see how this art piece will look like in the room. It is very user-friendly, but it has its downside. We can't actually compare it to an ordinary archive system like previously presented here. It has its limitation on the size and the formats and so on. But yeah, we are open for collaboration, and we have seen that there has been need for that kind of a database. But Andra will tell you about this Restart Reality, where she used actually Museum Public Portal.
I'm the person who usually goes through all the museums and databases to put together exhibitions. And a good example is right now open Vellovin featuring Kiva. It's open in Tartu Art Hall that we curated together. Vellovin is one of the old masters of our printmaking, and Kiva did a remix of his works, new interpretations. This is a glass sculpture that he did for the exhibition. So this gives a new breathing to the works of classical printmaker of Vellovin, and the artist was very pleased and satisfied finding his exhibition in a very modern contemporary way. Right now Vello is also open in Kumu, Estonian Art Museum. I recommend you see the exhibitions. But the new interpretations of Kiva were all made with National Museum archive materials. So the photos were given to us by them. NOAR has done many similar projects. One of them is Smartovkas, which is old Russian buildings, Khrushchevkas, made new by art pieces, and new interpretations of, again, Estonian artists, and in the public room, which is, I think, very interesting. But I think that one of our most famous projects is Everton Lõngus, who's famous and mysterious street artist. He's a fictional character, nobody knows who he is, and hopefully it will stay like this, otherwise it would be possible to act as a street artist anymore. But this project was in 11 cities of Europe, and we, as you saw in the video, we made 100-year-old Estonians come alive through augmented reality app. So these, actually most of the characters that we did were from National Archive, and he always looks he makes differences, but this is a Stone King sitting there, Stone King Lembit, and he was one of the most famous characters, because the Stone King gave a lot of feedback, especially in Berlin. A lot of bar owners came and wanted to have this guy on their bar. So, but each of them had a very funny story. So this Stone King talked to the stones, and when you saw him on the street, then you could make him come alive through augmented reality. Then there was Mina, and she was stuck in a portal. She wanted to come from past to present day. So these kind of funny different stories, and he uses a lot of our own cultural material, but again he uses also international motifs like death dance, which is understandable to all mortals. So he combines our own culture to international motifs, and I think that is the reason why even Guardian or National Geographic have referenced his works. And he's like in the Estonian museums, but in the same you can find his works behind the dumpster in the same institution. So some hate him and say that your works are not like artworks. Some love him. So it's and again, these old characters have totally other vibe or understanding in a street artist perspective. So we see that it's very important that our national archives are open and they should be free to everyone, because in cultural field, the budget of making exhibitions or street art, you don't have any support. So I will actually read a long quotation of Lõngus that I promised to do. So here goes his understanding about national archives and how it is to use them. So, digital access to the memory heritage of Estonian memory institutions is an area that urgently needs to be rethought and reformed. Existing solutions are severely flawed. As far as cultural sustainability is concerned, easy access to our national heritage should be a national priority. But in Estonia, much of our own cultural heritage has so far been locked away in museums and archives and can only be distributed on a paid basis. When I was preparing a series of digital ancestors for European tour, and approached the National Museum for full resolution scans of the photos of Johannes Pääsuke, I was to say the least sent to the moon, though museum staff admitted it was a stupid policy. Many other countries have in recent years systematically digitalized their old film and photo archives and made them available for public use, while our memory institutions still hold much of the public's possessions. In conditions where access to our own cultural material is difficult, a cultural vacuum is created, which in turn is filled with the culture that is more readily available, that is global culture. It directly globalizes Estonian national identity and should therefore be, in theory, completely unconstitutional. So, this is a work of Karel Koplimets, and it's a very good example of our days, how much information we have, and fake news, clickbait media news, social media, and how do you orientate in this field. Most of the material I know that Eduardo Longus gets from Google. And this certain picture of Johannes Pääsuke he saw in exhibition. So it's very important that our cultural heritage, our images, our own images, are available for wider public to see, to reinterpret. And I think that as NOAR is doing a platform where we curate it, so the material that gets to the platform is professional contemporary art. So we are already making some decisions and making it easier for a person who is interested in contemporary art to access this world. But a lot of art institutions, art collectors and artists put us like in a difficult place because they see that it would be also our mission to archive all of this material that isn't part of the museum archives. So this is a lot of pressure because we are not the museum. But the problem is really big because we are talking about, of course, art pieces themselves, that we don't have a place to keep them. But also there's a lot of photo material that is just getting lost. I know so many older generation artists that they just bring me CDs and say that there's some material, but they're not equipped with computers, and a lot of data goes in that sense. They take new pictures or it gets lost and nobody even knows. So these are the problems, and as Longus, so do we see that our National Archive images should be in good resolution available to all. Thank you.